Hey everyone, welcome to Agribusiness Global Report. My name is Renee Targus. I'm the editor for Agribusiness Global, and we are talking to Jim DeLisi, Chief of Fanwood Chemical Inc. today on several topics, including how the pharmaceutical tariffs might affect the crop protection market, update on India, and then a little back history on China and US tariffs. So welcome, Jim. All right, let's start with the first question. So why don't you give us an update on the status of what's going on with India and the US tariffs?
Okay, yes, Renee. Pleased to acknowledge that it appears as if the negotiations for a full-fledged free trade agreement between India and the United States are back on track, so that the USTR is talking to the India Trade Ministry. That's a good sign because hopefully that'll loosen up some of the tariffs. The other piece of it is with the India-Russia tariffs. President Trump, after his great success in the Middle East, has now pledged to focus more on Russia, Ukraine, and if he comes to a conclusion there, hopefully it will lift that 25% levy on India.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thanks for that. All right, kind of skipping around topics, let's talk about the pharmaceutical tariff and the effects that might have on the exception list.
Okay, this is real important because it's a sleeper for the ag chemical industry. If you go back to when the original executive order was issued, the exception list was noted to contain a whole bunch of materials that were likely related to pharmaceutical tariffs that were being envisioned at that time. The pharmaceutical tariff issue is now back front and center. The administration has made some agreements with some large pharmaceutical companies that have slowed down the issue of the issuance of the general executive order on this topic. It remains to be seen, once that executive order is issued, which of the items on the exception list that are agrochemicals are impacted and how they're impacted. So we got to wait and see on that. But everybody needs to understand that there's a chance that that exception list will be radically altered when they announce the tariffs on pharmaceuticals, which of course could be somewhat related to the Supreme Court discussion, which begins on November 6th, with hopefully a resolution from the Supreme Court by mid-December as to whether the reciprocal tariffs, the fentanyl tariffs, are legal under the U.S. Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for those. All right. Our final discussion for this episode is, talking about kind of like the history, the back history of U.S. and China tariffs and how it's affecting what's happening today.
Yes. This is very, very complicated. And what our listeners need to understand, this whole thing goes back to a deal that was made between the United States and China in Geneva on May 12th. And in that meeting in Geneva with Secretary Besson, I believe Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer were also there, and a high-level Chinese delegation. They came to an agreement on rare earth metals and the products that contain such metals, exports from China, where China pledged to remove export restrictions. There was a follow-up meeting because China did not follow through the way they expected on June 10. Same subject was on the table, and China again stated that they would not restrict the exports of these critical materials. And then a week or so ago, Chairman Xi announced severe restrictions and licensing requirements on the exports of the metals and the products that contain them. Evidently, that caught President Trump completely from the blind side, and he reacted last Friday night saying that he would do 100% tariff on China. I've had dozens of calls and notes saying, "What's this mean? What's this mean?" And my response is that a tweet on Truth Social is not an executive order, nor is it a Federal Register notice. Customs does not respond to tweets on Truth Social. And so until there is an executive order, we really don't have an answer to the question. So currently, nothing has happened. In the first tweet, Trump said that he was going to cancel the meeting with the chairman at the APEC ministerial, which comes up October 27th to November 1. Over the last couple of days, Secretary Besson has said they'll probably meet, but that's subject to President Trump. So a lot is riding on all of this. China has apparently, and I am no expert on this, but apparently China has a lock on rare earth metals and the products that contain them, which are crucial inputs to manufactured products all over the world, including military supplies. So until that is fully resolved, we're going to be on a roller coaster ride trying to understand what the tariffs are from China. But again, a tweet on Truth Social is not an order on customs to begin collecting tariffs. The current standstill on China tariffs expires on November 10. Something has to happen between now and November 10 to either continue the 10% reciprocity or change it. So something's going to happen. What that is, impossible to tell at this moment.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for taking time to speak with us today. I appreciate your expertise, and I appreciate your insight into this as we're trying to understand what's happening.
Fun times.
Definitely.